this patch. The Tiamat upgrades are stronger. Blade of the Ruin King, the real heavy hitter. And we're going to, I think, see a lot more of these fighters, both top and mid, for the rest of the season because of those buffs.
I'm very interested to see what the build is going to be from Pobelter, because we have seen in kind of the not LCS, the scrims that we cast last week, people were doing Blade of the Ruin King Rush, even forgoing the Triforce until much later. I have been seeing that on ladder some still too. I want to see what kind of a build he is going to bring out, and we actually get the Fiora. So this is looking now like Rumble mid. You put that Fiora top against the Ornn. Fiora, I think, was one of the biggest beneficiaries of some of these top lane changes. Ravenous Hydra, something you love to rush. The additional lifesteal there is very helpful. And also, if you can get access to the turret plates, Fiora is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, turret killers. The Q works on the turret, the E reset and crit works on the turret. So you can really destroy those turrets incredibly fast if you can get a winning top.
And Counter Logic Gaming round out the lineup with a magic damage jungler in the Karthus, finally adding some of that texture here. And yeah, this looks like CLG looking for where the matchup is going to be, trying to find the correct one-on-ones. I feel like I like Fiora in both matchups. You mentioned like things like Ruin King being better, obviously great against Ornn. I think I like Fiora in the Irelia 1v1 as well, just in that you can fairly easily riposte the E-stun and then fight from there. I think you know the matchup better than I do, so I'll defer to your wisdom here, but looks like as the champions are locked in, at least Huni and Ruin are going to be playing those fighters. We'll see if they play mid or top themselves, but the top laners have that matchup.
I do think Irelia has a chance. I think as the game goes longer, it can get more and more difficult, but you know, even if you can pair their posts, Irelia has some really good trading, even with just the longer range autos you can do in lane, and there are ways to perhaps outplay that, especially if you go for something like an early Executioner's Rush, can be okay in that 1v1, but I'm going to be interested to see if they want to try to follow the Ornn around the map, or if they're just going to be happy to play in that side lane, but either way, ton of focus expected to be around Fiora.
Yeah, gonna be really exciting. I love this champ set. Gonna be a whole lot of fun to watch, a whole lot of fun to cast, and we'll see if CLG can play spoiler or Dignitas can make their way into playoffs from the outside looking in. Champion select is over. That means there is a 5-minute delay before we broadcast the game for competitive integrity. So we'll see you here right after this. Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Dignitas and Counter Logic Gaming about to do battle here on the Rift. It's a tough one. It's battle between 9th and 10th. CLG almost assuredly cannot make playoffs, but Dignitas certainly can. They have beatable opponents. On paper, you maybe expect them to beat CLG. We'll see if they can make the push. It'd be exciting if they can. And we've got Fiora versus Irelia in the top lane with a jungle Karthus to boot.
I think it's going to be a really fun game. Win or lose, I am so excited for this Dignitas comp. A lot of style, a lot of that Huni panache going for the Fiora pick. And Acadian having Pantheon jungle, there's a lot of opportunity for the camp up on the top side and for assisting in split push scenarios, which should make for a very exciting game.
Yep. One thing I want to point out, and I will do this every single Karthus jungle game I cast until there are changes, I want to see how fast Wiggly can complete a first full clear. If you're really, really good, you get it at just barely over 3 minutes, like 3:03 or something. In my testing, first time doing it in a month or so, I got something like 3:06. So, you know, I want to see if LCS junglers can clear as fast as me. That's the real thing. It's the humble brag.
It's one of those things where there's actually a lot of little optimizations with how you're utilizing the E, how much you're auto attacking versus just spamming Q, and all of these different things. Also with the kiting to actually keep your health high, because we have seen huge differences in how fast people can do, especially a leashless full clear. I have seen, even in pro play, people do it sometimes 20-25 seconds slower than you're actually able to do it, just because they don't have as much experience on that Karthus specifically.
All right, well, Wiggly got a minor leash for his blue buff, which is fine. It doesn't save actually that much time because the DPS on blue is so high, but, you know, saves a couple seconds there, goes into this one. Froggen is going to go for the pretty early deep ward to check the Karthus clear speed, find out if Acadian can maybe, punk him somewhere down the line. For now, it's Acadian also doing a full clear, though, red into Krugs. A lot of golden XP on Krugs, of course. really valuable camp, but it does mean he's going to be a little bit hurt and nowhere near that top jungle to fight.
The Krugs are also, so much of the gold has been shifted into the later part of the camp, right? You can't just do the big one and the medium one and then kind of leave. You have to fully commit to clearing that out. And with the Talisman start, he clearly wanted to go for those AoE camps, get that little life drain off with your E. So
yep,
we'll see how quickly he's going to be able to actually clear through this, and if he's going to be looking for any sort of a gank or just going for a 6 camp clear.
One other thing I want to point out, actually two of them, is one, Wiggly had to stop to kill the ward. That is like 3 seconds he doesn't get back, and that is not tracked against him. He had to kill a ward. That's a smart play, it's the right thing to do. Most solo queue players don't have to do that kind of clear. But he's also didn't get any of the mana restore when he killed Raptors. He kept the E turned on, so he doesn't have the mana for this Krug kill as easily. And here comes the spear forward, has to flash away from it. Acadian does finally show up for a bit of a jungle invade at the very end. Doesn't actually manage to steal, I believe, almost any of the Krugs so far, as Wiggly's going to fight with the Q. The flash combo comes in. There's no flash get away. The E forward, and Acadian just solo kills the enemy jungler. Wiggly, you knew he was there. What a great flash stun. Now Ruin's forced off the wave as well. And Acadian single-handedly wins the jungle matchup.
Wiggly just stayed around. Even after getting his flash forced and being low HP, he felt like he could just clear that out from range, get a big farm advantage. Instead, he goes down, and I wonder if they're willing to try to make this dive happen on Ruin. Would be very risky early on if anyone were to get stunned up, so we'll just be a back off.
Yeah, and it does mean that it allows Ruin a pretty easy recall as well, if that one doesn't get stopped. Watch that replay first.
So this was after Wiggly had already flashed, and this is why it's such a dangerous play. Notice Acadian charging up his passive, then going in, and when you have that full passive charge, your W+1 auto actually fully stacks Conqueror and gives you your passive back, right? You can charge that up incredibly quickly, so you can have the bonus damage on your next Q, and he just executed that combo really, really well.
Absolutely beautiful. Acadian grabs himself that blue buff now, and yeah, he's technically down a couple of camps, but I'll take first blood over a camp every single day. That's going to feel real comfortable. A good early start here for Dignitas. 400 gold is exactly what you expect off an isolated first blood, and that is the money that is earned there. Top lane farm lead, mid lane farm lead, bot lane slightly to CLG, but the part of that is the fact that the lane is already pushing.
You would also expect Kai'Sa to lose to this misfortune. And
oh my gosh, Wiggly's just getting assaulted. He's just dead. He's getting punched. He's just getting punched by a robot. Oh my word. I'm so sorry for you, Wiggly. Doesn't have any support from his teammates whatsoever. Mid was obviously pushed in. You expect that from Rumble versus Ornn, but that is such a rough start for the Karthus.
Froggen won the mid lane so hard in these early levels that Pobelter had no ability to actually come over. Froggen didn't even have to use the summoner, didn't even have to use his ultimate. Pobelter was low health, so he couldn't actually roam over and help Wiggly out. And Wiggly, not only did he die for that first blood, he was down flash, so made for an easy kill here from Froggen. Only kind of positive thing to say for Wiggly is at least, we're tracking the timer. He was pretty fast on his first clear. Unfortunately, his first clear ended in his death.
Yeah. Again, there's still micro points I want to bring up because I think it does talk about so much about how this game is going. Like, if that path is slightly faster, he doesn't get ganked quite as easily. He's got more health. The fact that he didn't get the mana restore off chickens mean he wasn't able to toggle the E during red buff, couldn't toggle the E during Krugs, and that actually made those camps slower. Because he didn't have the mana to afford Defile. There was actually legitimately clear speed lost in some of his plays, and I think this game goes a bit differently when you save 1 or even half a second in some of those fights. So that is something that I do think is worth examining. Either way, getting off the topic, Dignitas still feeling comfortable. Acadian onto a very, very early Cloud Drake. Lost very little time in this one. Looks like mid is not going to have an answer, and bot is healthy enough that no one's going to stop this.
Cloud feels really good for this Dignitas comp too. When you're looking around, almost everyone wants to be using their ultimate and has pretty long ultimate cooldowns. These are, well, obviously everyone wants to use their ultimate, but these are important ultimates that, having them up is going to be very, very impactful.
Definitely agree. I do think it's going to be a good one for them. We go into Infernal second, and this is a very offensive-heavy team, so those are Drakes that fit the mold of what these teams are wanting to do. Wiggly, of course, Doesn't have to give blue over. Want to really kind of point out that that was part of the team composition as well. Is think about the champions that CLG are playing. None of them are very blue hungry. Allows Karthus not only to get the mana regen, but keep in mind that is 100 gold and in some cases a third of a level worth of XP that you don't have to hand over. That is definitely relevant when your jungler needs to be one of the carries. That is definitely part of the composition. Props to CLG for identifying that in the draft. But it's still going to be a rough one for them, down 700 gold off the 2 solo kills, and Dignitas now roaming topside.
Oh, this dive will be huge. Ruin has such a big wave at his turret and no teleport, so if you die here, it really sucks, and it looks like he's probably going to.
The Q is on cooldown, couldn't get the reset off the minion. There's no way away from that one. Huni takes the rest of the gold, gets the pleuret, and gets back up to the top side. Wiggly not going to be able to turn any of this around.
Ah, look at all those minions. That is like 3 stacked waves at least. Gonna be dying to that turret. Maybe Wiggly collects some of it, but still in that 1v1 for Ruin, you are really put behind off of that, because if he could collect that farm, he's actually doing great. He would have the early executioners. He would actually be up in CS if he picked up all of it. Instead, the wave's going to be pushing away from him. He's down farm, and Huni is going to be sitting in a really good spot. And this was just started up very well by Froggen, putting the ultimate here along the turret. Ruin flashes out of it early, but everyone is on top of him. Huni able to get that trigger of the ultimate as Ruin does die to heal up a little bit more. And no danger of going down. Doesn't even have to flash.
And that fight is legitimately different if Ruin has his Q available. Was about 20 health off getting the reset of the melee minion. That is a lot more damage. It's more healing as well. That fight honestly looks different. These little small things, honestly, very, very small edges are turning these fights from at least getting an answer kill or at least getting away from the jungle gank. And now again, Froggen aggressive under the tower, but Wiggly can challenge the ult here. Does the W come back in time? Can he get the shield? Does so. And of course, Dark Harvest already on cooldown. With 100 health to spare, Froggen walks away.
The overheated scrap shield just barely enough to keep him alive. But, or an ulti, can he snipe him?
Is it?
Oh!
So close. Froggen had to burn the flash. Honestly, yeah, okay. You can't really do any better than that from out there. The flash will always get away from that one. But at least it's summoner down.
Well done from Pobelter. He probably assumes the flash was down, but I don't know that they actually had vision of the summoner being used. I'm not sure if it's one of those where you can see the animation in fog or not.
I shouldn't be able to.
Similar to how, you know, with Baron, you can see animations where people are hitting that. So either way, they force out the summoner. Froggen now down both of those. Huni up on this top side. We'll be looking to actually play pretty aggressive, I think, in this. You want to kind of poke down the Aurelia, you know, utilize those vital hits, get him fairly low to a point where you can then threaten the ultimate and all in.
Gets 1 Q in, but again, Ruin down a level is going to have a hard time actually winning the fight, especially with Acadian back up at the top side. Knows he's there as the control ward comes down. Walks by the other one, and Ruin can't even survive a 1v2 under his own turret. He's pulling Nautilus over. There's going to be a nice W. The flash Q's not going to land. Ult comes in afterwards, but Acadian might not be in that much danger. First one comes in. Here comes the rest of the squad. Ruin does pick up one, and look at him go for this one. Look at him go for the fight. You gotta be kidding me. Ruin and Smoothie win the 2-on-2. That is so huge for CLG.
What a good roam by Smoothie, getting up to the top lane at the perfect moment. Misses the Q, but it didn't end up mattering. Ruin playing that very, very well. And despite all the attention that Dignitas put up to that top lane, Huni is now behind. He's down farm. It's 2 kills to 0. And the red buff going to Ruin. Also very interesting that Huni's actually going Blade of the Rune King. Wow.
Yeah. It's a better item, right? I gotta point out, though, Dignitas are now behind. Okay, they've got a Drake, but they're down 300 gold. Keep in mind, almost all of their kills were unassisted, so CLG's kills are literally worth as much gold as Dignitas's kills, plus farm they've got in various spots. A lot of that, of course, being the jungle here for Wiggly. And yeah, Blade of the Rune King is better. Looking at the item, we gotta wait a little bit because there might be a gank. Rune's in safety right now. Basically, there was more on-hit damage, like on-attack damage from the passive than from the raw AD, even before the buff. So, I mean, a really substantial part of this item's actual damage is in the passive. Also worth noting that champion health is honestly fairly high across the board, almost regardless of the champion you're actually playing against. That just doesn't actually change that much between champions, so it just is a very effective item.
It's just interesting because when you are playing these split pushers, so much of actually getting access to the tower is having good wave clear. And Ravenous Hydra does that, but we do have an attack in the mid lane.
Decent knockout. Q not quite going to land smoothly, just a bit out of range of that one. Unfortunate for him. And it does allow Froggen to walk away, because that 3v1 probably kills him with a flashless mid laner.
Yeah, so Blade of the Rune King is more powerful as far as, the combat stats, but being able to shove the wave and move into the jungle, farm up those camps instantly, that AoE damage does matter a lot, but Smoothie now going to get jumped on here. Great play!
Absolutely beautiful, and the follow-through always going to be there. Doesn't burn the stopwatch. I don't blame him for not doing so, but it means Dignitas are once again feeling comfy. The second Drake's going to go their way as well. Pretty long, actually not that long in between these things spawning up, so that's going to feel really comfortable. Double Drake already 12.5 minutes in. If they can kind of keep the early game going strong for them, which for the most time it has been, this is going to be a really good mid game.
I think they just have to keep the foot on the gas, right? You've got to keep things moving as this Dignitas comp. When you're looking over and you're seeing Karth is just power clearing his jungle over and over, Ornn farming up in this mid lane and getting experience towards those Ornn upgrades, there is a lot of late game power on this CLG side. So they are pretty dependent, I think, on the side of Dignitas of being able to win through side lane here. But so far, Huni really hasn't been able to get much done in that 1v1. They have gotten a kill and put some pressure on Broom, but it's been more about the combined team effort in that roam.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough one here as we have a quick pause in the game. We have a snapshot of a 500 gold difference of Dignitas being ahead with the two Drakes their way as well on an Ocean Rift, if they can claim those in the next 9 minutes. But yeah, a quick pause from Dignitas' side. We will hear what that is about before too terribly long, and we'll keep you informed as we learn more here as well. I haven't been able to look at the bot lane too much. It's been honestly pretty equal. As far as I can tell, it's 5 plates each side, meaning 0 have been killed. So that's just been a trade-off of farm as Manamune is stacking up for Johnson. Styx has got the obvious Essence Reaver there. And I am curious to see, as Azazel was mentioning, I totally agree. Dignitas putting the foot on the gas, keeping the aggression going would be pretty wise.
They have 2 dragons, so you are moving towards that soul point. That is something working in their favor, a win condition for sure, especially because it is that ocean soul. That is what I think most people are agreed upon being the generically strongest ocean soul, rather soul of any of the dragons. So that could be really big if they can continue stacking those up, but CLG is scaling very well. And as far as that bot lane goes, I do think you're going to be pretty happy as Kai'Sa to be coming out farming evenly against Misfortune, which is generally considered to be the stronger laner. One of the reasons from talking to some of the pros that Kai'Sa has fallen out of the meta is they don't feel that Kai'Sa should be able to lane evenly against a lot of these meta champions, your Varus's and your Aphelios's and Misfortunes and these types that have been so popular.
But keep in mind, of course, that not that that's wrong in any way. Sometimes, of course, the risk can be worth it. Either if you think your opposing laners are not good in laning, they don't punish you, and Styx and Smoothie don't have the best laning stats overall in the season. But also, Kai'Sa got buffed this patch. She got specifically the AD build got a lot better. You get an extra, I think it's extra 2 missiles on the Q evolve, which is something like a 15% damage increase in the spell, somewhere around there. Both the base damage and ratio scaling off the extra missiles there, so really impactful. She's going towards the pretty standard Manamune into Rageblade build. Sometimes even if you do expect to go down 15 CS or 2 plates or whatever, well, it's okay. The mid to late game is so good that the rest of Dig are aggressive, and then Johnson's the late game insurance policy. Or in other cases, you're picking her because she's an assassin. A little bit. She's only 20% of one, but when Acadian lands the W stun, or Huni manages to get a stun himself off of reposting something big, Kai'Sa's there. It's not a lot of setup, right? But she's there to hit backline off of Acadian.
And that's kind of why I figured they had picked it, is this combination with the Pantheon. If Rumble and Fiora and Pantheon are all going to be flying into that backline, someone is going to apply plasma for you, whether it's Thresh or someone else, and then you can ult in to follow up, and that can be very powerful. And even just their summoner setup is a bit of a nod to how they were going to play this matchup. Very clearly, by not taking the Ignite, they're not actually looking for any sort of 2v2 kills. It is barrier on the Kai'Sa as well as heal on the Thresh, so quite a defensive setup to try to prevent any potential all-ins coming in from CLG. So I do think they kind of made their adjustments as far as their choices there to try to withstand any pressure in that 2v2, and as a result, set up pretty well now. And we'll have to see how Kai'Sa can perform, going forward into some of these team fights where these next couple Dragon fights could really be deciding the game.
Yeah, they really can be. And again, we're basically 9 minutes and change away from Dragon Soul if Dignitas hold on to the early mid-game lead. Do want to point out, haven't given an update. Froggen was restarting his computer. In the future, in real time, the pause has been resolved. I believe we're under a minute away from live game.
We're in the past? Again.
I mean, we talked about it already. We are playing these games online, and even though we're doing our best with refs and everything else, it's always nice to have the extra precautions. We got got the games on delay. It's more than a dragon behind at all times. So I think
don't need the mini map cover. The junklers can't.
Yeah. It's just your face or Infinity Force or something down there. I watch a lot of people who stream tournament games on Twitch and YouTube and stuff, and it's a lot of people are like, I'm playing a tournament today. Today is on a 5-minute delay. And it's okay, yeah, that's just how it goes. I understand that one. So we are back into this one as Froggen clears the way without much issue. Is 3-0 on the Rumble. He is really big here. That is going to be one of the primary team fight carries for Dignitas for now.
It also feels so good when you are the only AP threat and you are having a good game, because either they don't respect the fact that there's a huge amount of magic damage, build no MR, and you shred them, or you're actually forcing out a significant amount of magic resist, maybe USSs or Hex Drinkers or whatever, and you're making the game easier for all of your teammates who are going to be dealing almost purely physical damage.
Yeah, I think Kai'Sa, last I checked, is still at least 70-30 physical, even with the passive being such a big part of her kit. And the W exists and everything
especially
else.
with a build like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Menamune's on hit is physical damage. She's obviously building raw AD. Q is a bigger part of the kit as well. And now Ruin, you can see the kind of damage available there for Huni. Gets one of the vitals off the ultimate, trades ultis back and forth. Now Ruin is going to be able to lifesteal pretty easily off this wave. You're seeing over 100 HP on some of these Qs and right back where you started.
And it is Blade of the Rune King for Rune here too. So question answered. People just feel that this build is so strong. I do think that there's even more of a trade-off. I was talking about wave clear with the Ravenous Hydra for Fiora, which can be a big deal to have the push there. But for Ruin, one of the things that's so strong about Tiamat on Aurelia is it allows you to easily prep range of minions for the Q execute. To get those resets in a 1v1 or a potential 1v2 to not only dodge out of attacks, but to get that 5-stack from your passive where you become so much more strong. So clearly people are valuing this Blade of the Rune King incredibly highly to be giving up, all of those other kind of benefits that Tiamat has.
Right, yeah.
And yeah.
It's super interesting as well. I actually like the topic. Real quick, by the way, I was informed this is a CLG side pause. Stixxay and Ruin having FPS issues, so we'll wait to see what the resolution is there for them. But I like this topic a lot. Talking about how, okay, sure, it's probably correct to go into Blade of the Rune King. Okay, yeah, the item got buffed. It makes total sense. That not to convince me on that one. But what it means for the game, what it means for the champions. Yeah, you're objectively stronger, but you're way stronger in PvP combat, and you're objectively weaker in PvE, right? You have objectively less wave clear. You kill fewer minions over time, and that changes sometimes how long it takes you to catch a wave if you're playing the defensive side, or how long it takes you to get back to your team if you're even the one who's pushing first.
Exactly. There's a lot of extra things you can do. It can mean not only just how many minions you kill through the lane, but when you have Ravenous and you're playing Fiora and you're ahead, you actually just insta-clear the wave out, and if you can't pressure your opponent under turret, then you just go into the jungle and you power farm the Krugs really quick, and things like that become very, very easy. I also think that one of the things that can be very difficult when you play years and years and years of a champion like Aurelia, I recently tried the Blade of the Rune King build, and I do think it's strong, but if you're so used to playing with Tiamat plus Triforce, which has been the standard basically forever, right?
Yeah.
It is so easy to mess up a Q reset compared to what you were doing before, because you don't have the bonus damage of the Sheen to kind of one-shot those caster minions. You don't have the Tiamat to actually prep those minions. And all high-level Fiora, or rather Aurelia players, do play around these resets very, very heavily, both for healing in fights, for dodging skill shots in fights. And if you ever actually fail a reset and can no longer use your Q in an all-in, you just lose.
Yeah, you really do. We saw that in the top lane tower dive at the very beginning of the game.
Yep.
And yeah, like there's some of the tools here as well, right? Like the Tiamat active is often enough to set up the rest of the stuff. And, sometimes they'll use their W for it. Sometimes Tiamat, occasionally if they have to, it's the E. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, one less tool to set it up. And yes, on an individual minion basis, the Ruin King passive damage exists. You've got a 500 health melee minion. 12% of that is a good 60 bonus damage on top. That is more than the raw ID of Tiamat. In an individual basis, technically, yeah, you have a higher threshold on when the Q can actually last hit them in ideal cases. But again, you're not doing this ancillary splash damage. You don't have the active that does like 100 something damage in any reasonable mid game situation to set it up. And so yeah, to your point, the breakpoints are different. In some cases they're better. In a lot of cases they're worse. Yeah. You assume these players have had enough time to do it. Of course, pro patches are already a week delayed. So like they've been playing solo queue and nothing but solo queue for the last week and a half. With these changes in, they're clearly, as far as I can tell, more than comfortable with these champions. But it is something to point out that sometimes the muscle memory changes. Sometimes the game plan just has to be different.
And Triforce is delayed quite a lot too, right? Because traditionally you would just go Tiamat and then stop on that on Aurelia and go straight into your Triforce. And some people just skip that and rush straight Triforce. So, with the completion of the Blade of the Rune King, obviously you are pushing that back. You're not just going to go Bilgewater Cutlass and stop there and then go towards, a Triforce. It doesn't really make sense. If you're going to go that build path, you want to fully commit to it. But just a little update for you guys. We are getting some computer restarts. Hopefully we'll resolve the FPS issues that CLG are having. As soon as they are back online and ready, we will very likely be underway and hopefully have no further issues. And thank you for everyone for your patience. Obviously this is the first week working remote, and everyone behind the scenes has been putting in so much effort to get the LCS back up and running. Our producers, our production team, the engineering, everyone has been grinding so hard to have this go over smoothly. And there will be some hiccups, but we are going to do our absolute best to have the LCS feel as close to normal as possible and to run as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, just to illustrate that one, a second ago, my software that delivers my audio and webcam feed to the broadcast just crashed. I've loaded it back up. As far as I can tell, I'm still broadcasting. Otherwise, Azale is awkwardly pausing as we have a different software that lets Azale and me hear each other because we're receiving a feed in to our homes and then broadcasting it out, and then our awesome engineering team is splicing those together with the program feed and then resubmitting that back out to the actual streams. We can't wait for each other's program feed to hear each other, or there's like 18 seconds of delay and it's just not possible. So my feed that went out to the rest of the world dropped for a couple about 20 seconds there. Thankfully Azale was monologuing, so it was perfect, and hopefully no one knows anything happened.
My turn now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hopefully
to shine. Can't wait for
hopefully no one knows it happened after you just spent 30 seconds talking about what happened.
Yeah.
You're like, I hope it's a secret. By the way, let me explain what happened.
Yeah. Oh my. All right. Well, it's okay. We're fine.
You played yourself.
Look, I would have done it if you hadn't just talked about the fact that we're doing this from home and there's going to be hiccups. And mid-sentence, the software crashed. Like, it couldn't have been better timing. So I had to bring it out.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, in the real world, like we're not already.
The real world of League of Legends.
In Runeterra, we're waiting for Ruin to reconnect. That's really what I meant, is that like the human of Counterlogic Gaming's top laner is returning to the game. Obviously, Aurelia is still on the Rift. So we should be getting ready checks pretty soon. We should be getting ready to go back into the game pretty soon, which is good. That's exciting to me. And obviously, the game hasn't moved a lot in the last several minutes.
So if Aurelia is still on the Rift, but just not able to move, is it just like Rune is the soul of Aurelia?
Yes.
Aurelia is just this husk that's still just there?
I think that's exactly what it is, yeah. I think champ. Well, so keep in mind, right? Like, this is no longer canon, but the old lore of League of Legends was that basically these champions were controlled by summoners. They were summoned to do, battle, and they were absolutely more or less husks. That's been retconned. Summoners no longer exist. These champions just are doing battle, and I don't remember the lore well enough to tell you any more than that.
What if I wanted you to go longer on the lore?
It would not be the right time
It would be a
for
disaster.
it, unfortunately, and especially with the game resuming here. I think there's more important things going on. We are
there
back.
There are more important things going on. That's true.
Shout out Ionia beat Lucidity, by the way, which was an actual lore match where Ionia beat Noxus for control of some territory.
Oh.
And then we stopped having those things happen.
Today I learned.
Yeah, there's actually flavor text on the item. It's like in commemoration of Ionia's win over Demacia or of Noxus in like 22 current era or whatever. So next time you're on a game of League of Legends, read the flavor text.
Okay, I will.
Great.
Back to the start. Back to the game. Ruin, they're gonna die.
Ulti, Ruin, gonna be tagged, gonna be stunned. Is there a way out? He hops around with some minions. He's actually maybe. No, he's not walking away. Acadian claims the kill with a shutdown bonus over the top. Dignitas 5 and 2 in this game.
Great dive up on that top lane. They've got to keep going back to Huni. They need to keep him in a position where he can play aggressively. Unfortunately, he's not picking up these kills. He is just getting assists. So really not getting as much out of it as you would like. It's still pretty good having the kills on Acadian, but Pantheon's going to fall off at some point.
Yeah.
And that is something that is a bit of a concern.
You definitely would prefer to have that on Fiora. 100% of the time, that is always going to carry you better. Tiamat comes through. We got the item in. There we go. The wave coming over the top. Of course, the poor Ruin, despite his double kill, is so far behind with 2 turrets gone that he can't finish Ruin King yet. That's going to suck. Obviously, the fact that he upgraded boots, he stopped by Executioners, he's done other things in the build, but still does not have that all-important power spike, and that is going to be rough. So we'll see, though. Huni got some turret gold. He's feeling real comfy.
I'm interested to see if Huni's going to go Tiamat into Triforce now, or if he's going to do something different, like full complete a Ravenous or even a Titanic Hydra with that Ruby Crystal. I kind of would prefer just Triforce from here and just sit on the Tiamat for wave clear. I don't think you need the additional lifesteal when you already have the Blade of the Rune King, so we'll be interested to see where he does go.
Yeah, I'm very curious about this one, honestly. I could honestly see it being any of the above. I think Ravenous Hydras for someone like Fiora, I think Ravenous's buffs were bigger than Titanic's buffs. I don't think there's a reason to go Titanic Hydra on this champion. But the mana pool and CD are obviously really good on Triforce, so I agree with you on that one. There we got to see the glimmer of when Froggen reconnected on the screen a second ago. But he's on double flat pun already, plus Leander's already completed. He's obviously huge right now, very easily able to wave clear if there's any dive. The ult does 1,000,000 damage. And CLG just, it really feels like don't have good tools to stop what Dignitas are doing.
They do have engage, but they have to feel that they're in a good position to actually force it. And right now, no one's answering Huni. They dropped the Rift Herald mid to put pressure there. Rune was there to respond, but at the same time, Huni's actually on the inhibitor turret, so will have to back off. And CLG do claim a dragon for themselves, so critically slowing Dignitas's march towards that Ocean Soul. That would have been their third dragon, and I'm a bit surprised to see Dignitas didn't prioritize going for a soul.
Yeah, but they're going to get this kill in the mid lane and the second turret as well. Smoothie's stopwatch buys a couple of seconds. The re-engage comes across as well. Maybe it's enough as up comes the ultimate as well. And it's 1 kill so far over to Huni. Going to be running away, flashing over the wall. Ruin's going to drop as well. 2 for 0. Nice knock-up from Pobelter as Froggen is running for his life. Doesn't have any summoners or ulti left to get away. But it is a 2 for 0. 2 turrets taken down as well. And Dignitas, I'll take that trade for a dragon every single time, but it does come out well for them.
That is looking really good for Dignitas. Despite the fact that Ruin got into the backline, had so many Q resets. Now they're diving onto Wiggly, but a lot of low health bars here for Dig. They gotta run.
The man has flash and a lantern gets him away anyway. Wiggly was able to be safe the whole time. Walks out, might get his own blue buff. They're gonna hold on to it, and Wiggly does grab that one. Level 11 on the Karthus. Has yet to get himself into much.
Ruin had a pretty good team fight, but the problem was CLG had no ability to actually follow up on what he was doing. He was so far ahead of the rest of the team, and he kind of used his engage to really, cover the retreat of Smoothie. Had Stixay been in a position where he could actually get a bullet time over top, maybe they could have picked up some kills, but it just resulted in him going down, and low health bars on Dignitas didn't really amount to anything.
Rough stuff there. Wiggly going to be spotted out. Of course, he's got the rest of the squad around him. They know Afrim is kind of alone right there. Don't expect for seeing that steal, but, here comes the Q. All right, picked up. But Froggen, that's an easy answer. Just the burn itself. You saw it, he turned away. He knew it was enough. Wiggly flashed in a line, not perpendicular, and took pretty much full damage from Equalizer there. And oh boy, their jungle is going away. Poor Wiggly, 0 and 3.
Cool guys, don't look at explosions. Froggen just walking away with the burn on Wiggly there. Gets the flash, takes the kill. Wiggly clearly shouldn't have flashed, but did feel like maybe he could get out and ends up going down, wasting the summoner, which is pretty critical because if you are looking for any type of 5v5 team fight, having flash on Karthus to actually access the backline and even just die in a good spot is pretty critical to getting use out of your passive.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. Totally agree with that one. So that sucks. It's been a rough game for Wiggly, and that's too bad. I hate to see players having kind of a lackluster season. It feels like Wiggly's been having a lot of that one so far in 2020. We'll see if he can turn it around a bit more. He was such a big part of CLG's 2019 summer split being good. And sadly, back to his old spring split ways. Again, a dive comes.
Oh, here we go.
Big damage for Acadian. Gets queued back. Smoothie gonna get hit by the hook aftermo. A nice pickup there, but CLG feeling tanky. Equalizer
Ruin's behind
on
them.
The backline cuts him off. Froggen gets one kill picked up. Knockups come over. Ruin's here as well, but he doesn't feel like he can fight. Gets away from Afremu. Just a simple one for 0-6. They could not survive that fight.
Yeah, Ruin looked like he had a promising flank, but the ultimate actually only landed on Afremu, and then he missed his stun, so had no real ability to continue the fight. And the big problem is that was a 5v4 for CLG that they lost. Meanwhile, Huni's power farming in the bot lane, takes another turret down, and is injecting even more gold into this Fiora. He has gone towards Phage, which I expect is going to be the Triforce, but Black Cleaver could be an option here too. I don't like it as much, especially since Acadian's building it though.
Well, right now the games, as far as we can tell today, at least, are going to expectation a little bit, at least based on Elo here. Dignitas, being a couple of wins over CLG, a little bit expected to win this game, even though the most recent results haven't been in their favor. If Dig close this game out, they are tied with Team Liquid and Golden Guardians for 7th. They would be only a single game away from a chance at a playoff spot. With 3 to play, like this is a must-needed win. They are in position to claim it, and this is maybe that very, very late resurgence of 5-game loss streak finally maybe ended here today. If CLG dropped, by the way, they would be guaranteed locked out of playoffs. They would cap at 6 wins. 6th is already at 7 wins right now. It definitively ends the spring split playoff hopes for CLG, even if it was already slim coming in.
It's also been so interesting, with that week off due to going remote, we've seen more of these crazy team fighting kind of comps. Like we've had more variety, right? We have a lot of team fight that we've been seeing, but we have had the Calista top for Licorice, we had Fiora top for Huni, things that we had not seen yet that is kind of moving away from the team fighting towards split push style, towards focusing on top lane. And I wonder if that extra week of preparation gave it to him. Nice
riposte by Huni, stuffs Smoothie down to half HP. They don't quite go for the play, but the team is grouped up. Pantheon has the ulti available. This Drake is live and ready to be fought for. It's CLG cutting it back. Can they land the smite? Go for a quick hit over there on the top laner. Huni has to cut away. Ornn hits 2 knockups, and Huni forced completely out of the fight. Lantern able to resuscitate him here, and that means numbers advantage for CLG for a little bit. Can the smite come through? Nicely picked up by Acadian. Puts them on soul point. Wiggly had the ability to smite that one. It was his team dealing the damage, but it's Dignitas jungler coming out on top.
Great job by Acadian there, smiting that away, because Dignitas wasn't really in a position to fully commit to the team fight. Froggen didn't have his ultimate, and they didn't want to fight without that, so it was just going to be down to this 50-50. They do get it, and are now on soul point. Another win condition added in here for Dignitas, as Froggen may spot Wiggly.
He may know what's going down. He obviously sees the wolf corpse, and yep, just ulties into Fog of War. It's not going to be enough damage. Wiggly able to walk away and still at half HP. That wall might be enough. Ruin gets his own slow. Going to look to try to get an E-range, but he can't quite do it. The empowered Electro Harpoon, too big of a slow. Ruin on Ninja Tabby to fight the top laner, not the Berg Treads you talked about, the difference in damage types on the team. Can't break the slow in time, not able to get in range for the stun.
Does get pushed back. We can see Pobelter now kind of getting to those levels where he can start upgrading for his team. Obviously, that all got pushed back, but soon he will be able to upgrade the Infinity Edge for Stixay. He has his own double upgrades for himself, so things looking a little bit better now for CLG when you're counting in all the additional gold from that. You know, it's 3,000 plus gold of stats on the items that Pobelter has added in. It's an additional 1,000 or so for Stixay. So when you're kind of adding that in, the gold lead doesn't seem so big anymore. And despite the fact that it's a 0-3 Karthus is farming well and is very high level. So you're still going to have a lot of impact on this game. And because of that, CLG still has a chance.
Yeah, looking at XP overall, top lane is a 1 level lead, mid lane is equal, bot lane is a 1 level lead, support is a 1 level lead. So not that far behind in XP. The important levels are done. Like points in Wind Wall don't do very much, or not Wind Wall, sorry, but Wall of Pain for the Karthus don't mean very much. But there is another chance at a catch here. Pobelter in a bit of a 2-on-2. Acadian gonna be knocked up. This could be a chase down. Doesn't have the flash it away. Goes in for a bit of a combo. Damage for smoothing. Gets someone to heal over the top as well. Ruin now comes in for the fight, and CLG outnumbered Dignitas, but is it going to be enough? Johnson comes in for the fight, picks up 2, and goes right back out with the Lantern, kind of saving a bad team fight. But
comes Uni.
He wants in. 3-on-3 here. Do Counterlogic Gaming have the numbers? Do they have the damage? Already it's a 1-for-1. Now down to the 2-on-2 as Johnson flashes away. Stasia's barely alive, and Pobelter on a tank is not going to have the damage. He's going to get picked off at the end. A triple kill for the AD carry of Dignitas. And that is actually, I believe, an unofficial penta. I think he got the first double at the start of it. End of the day, Dignitas taking another team fight.
Huge team fight win there for Dignitas. Johnson cleaning up, and a lot of credit deserved by Acadian and Froggen for how long they were actually able to delay. They were in this 2v4 type scenario as all of CLG collapses in, and they were able to last so long. The Equalizer getting so much damage down here from Froggen, then Acadian kiting back, using his empowered E to actually block out a lot of damage. As soon as that expires, he goes into the stopwatch, then Froggen goes into the stopwatch, and they can't ignore Froggen because of the amount of damage he has. So Johnson comes in from the side, cleans up 2 quick kills, and then despite the fact that Huni misses the parry here, Johnson dueling up against Stixay, barely able to take him down. That is the unofficial penta. All 5 kills going to Johnson. What a team fight from him.
And into another one right afterwards. Counterlogic Gaming low on health, already forced off the mid lane. That turret was already dead, so territory gained not going to mean all that much, but obviously huge amounts of power coming in. Nashor's Tooth done, Seeker's Arm Guard done. Johnson's going to have that W evolve now. As is the typical build, of course, you expect out of this champion, but overall a little bit lower after the changes on the W. Still very good on the Q, of course. And yeah, gonna feel pretty comfortable here as a couple of the item upgrades are coming through. Pobelter needs level 15 for the next one. He's got a Blade of the Ruin King ready to go. The Death Cap not too far away for Wiggly. So yes, growth is still coming in for CLG, but Dignitas time and time again by pretty slim margins using those leads to get ahead. And now Huni gonna have a really good chance at getting all 4 vitals here. Big healing gonna come through. Doesn't chase down though. Smoothie was right there. I know players would have chased that one down and then asked where their team was. Why didn't you help me? It's very smart to back off.
I may be one of them. And Huni, you could have expected to be one of them too, honestly. He's kind of that crazy player that will always look for the outplays, always look for that aggressive move, but all of CLG were coming, so does back off. You know, you can see that he is putting out a lot of damage though at this point. He has the Triforce, Blade of the Rune King, plus the Tiamat. Really strong point in the game for him. And you can see over for Stixay, he's doing this kind of BF stacking build, which can give you incredibly powerful ultimates. You have so much flat AD with these types of builds. I have actually seen even just the kind of quad BF sword build. And look at Smoothie though, just getting lit up there as Huni is on this dragon. And this is looking like it'll be Soul for Dig.
Attempt here for CLG to come in, already chunked so low by the Equalizer. Soul is grabbed, and that regen's going to be massive. Is there a fight to be had for CLG? Already one of them's going to drop. After move, chunked low by the bullet time, but there's some backline access. Wiggly gets the kill on the Huni. That is at least one thing picked up. Stixay can't survive it. The kill off on a Wiggly himself, and the ulti not quite going to find the kills. The team regenning enough. There's only 2 left alive on CLG's side, running for dear life. Will they have the next little bit? Q's going to come in for some damage. They aggro the Baron. He's not going to find the knock though, but they will find the double stun. That means there's no chase down quite to be had. The regen's still coming through though. Acadia's going to feel healthy. They're trying to run away. Ruin's second stun comes in soon. Not going to matter here, but it does mean Dignitas with 4 still alive can easily go look at Baron.
Yeah, they're going to grab this Baron, no problem. Johnson will shred through this, and so much of that team fight was just about the equalizer that Froggen got early on. He roasted CLG with a perfectly placed equalizer. All of CLG was just kind of in a line in mid lane, and the amount of damage he had to have put out in that team fight was absurd.
Absolutely a ton right there. They waited for the Huni reset. They waited for him to revive, I should say, and he came through. Now he has the Baron buff. Did go Triforce, as you were guessing, Azale. Correct on that one. As Dignitas are, it's almost unlosable now. 10,000 gold lead. Ocean Soul is so good when you're ahead. I feel like they can just never kill you during the team fight. You'll basically regen the Karthus ult and the Baron buff on for 2.5 minutes.
It's got to be those 100-0 types of plays to actually kill off a team that does have that Ocean Soul, and that is very difficult to get, right? You have to kind of think about some Nautilus Ornn engage into an MF ult and just burst people down immediately, but they also only have the Executioners on Aurelia, so they don't actually have much as far as healing debuffs that are easy to apply.
Ruin can't find the stun, goes down to half HP instantly. Huni feeling safe, has the overshield. That's no problem for him at all. As Counterlogic Gaming gonna show up with several members to defend the bottom lane, but that means with 4 people known, no one meaningful can be in the mid lane, and Dignitas are already there. Pobelter doesn't exactly have wave clear on this Ornn. The turret goes down to half HP, but they're gonna respect the chance to re-engage. Smoothie finds the anchor toss. Here comes the team fight yet again. Wiggly chunked off the fight, can't do anything at all, flashes away, and can't even ultimate. There's no Karthus in this fight. Knock up on an after move. Backline axe comes in, Smoothie gonna drop. Huni got 1, 2, 3 kills picked up already. Pobelter's gonna make it number 4, and here's the ult over the top. Wiggly not gonna survive the fight. A triple coming through for Johnson. Dignitas walking all over Counterlogic Gaming. 31.5 minutes in. The playoff hope is still alive. They are just a game behind 6th place, and they do it by eliminating Counterlogic Gaming from playoff contention. The Nexus turrets fall. An amazing game from Froggen. Acadian got first blood in the jungle invade, and Dignitas just maybe back on form.
Fantastic game here from Dignitas, and Acadian ulting over the top at the end there, even getting a moment to dance on his opponent, says Dignitas will take the win. And it was with such an exciting team comp too, being able to bring out the Fiora, the Rumble, the Pantheon jungle was such a fun look at this meta right now, and I'm very excited to see, with a couple successful kind of lane focused, side lane style of picks that have come out now, are we going to see more of a shift towards that? Is this going to force some of these teams that are playing later today to kind of adjust to try to give some more respect to things like the Fiora, like the Kalista, that teams hadn't really been willing to pick previously?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think going for lane dominant styles can be very, very good. I think you do want something really sharp, really aggressive in the early game for most team compositions. If teams aren't reacting to the Blade of the Ruin King buffs, I think that, they're definitely behind the times. So, I liked the top lane matchup I saw in this game. I liked Licorice's Kalista. I think, we're going to see more of this. I think that's the meta we're shaping ourselves up for, is definitely more fighter heavy. We'll see what Game 5 has for us. It's going to be really exciting as FlyQuest hopes to keep pace with TSM. That's going to be coming up soon. We've got that last game cooking before we call it for Saturday. FlyQuest vs. Immortals coming up soon. See you there.